Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the March 10th, 2026 Victor Planning Board meeting. I'd like to start with the pledge, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag
United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
A few meeting announcements before we get going. Emergency exits are to your left and right. Restrooms are out the back doors to the left. Please be sure to sign the attendance sheet if you haven't already on the back table, and even if you're a developer or presenting an application. There are business cards at the back table as well, along with for the planning department, contact information, as well as copies of resolutions that we'll be reading tonight, along with copies of the agenda if you don't have one. Please silence your cell phones so you don't interrupt those who are addressing the board, and please take any conversations you may wish to have amongst yourselves out of the room and close the doors behind you so that does not interrupt the meeting. Thank you. Meeting minutes last meeting, Lisa had gotten them to us just before, so I suggested postponing it, approval of them until this meeting. So does anyone have any comments for Lisa on those corrections? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the meeting of 1/13/2026.
I'll move.
Al moves. I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, carried 4-0. We just received a letter on the Asano Circle, from the Asano Circle residents regarding an application before us this evening. So that you should have a copy of it in front of you. Board and committee updates. Dave Condon's here from the town board. Thanks for joining us, Dave.
Good evening, everybody. I just wanted to share with you today, we had a press conference today with Congressman Joe Morelli, and Joe actually helped secure about $1.3 million for some sewer line that's going to come up County Road 9. You know, over the last 15 years, we've had, I think, 3 breaks in that sewer main, and it's going to come from the pump station on County Road 9 down by Stone Lay, and it's going to come all the way up to the thruway. So we're pretty excited about that federal funding that's going to be coming our way, and helping with our continued infrastructure as we, continue to maintain that. So that was the big doings today. So that was pretty exciting news.
Excellent. Great. Thanks for that, Dave. And our thanks to Mr. Morelli for helping out with that. Lisa, planning board update.
So your next meeting will be Tuesday, March 24th. What is on that one is Bass Pro Shop Outpost at Eastview Mall is going in the former Lord and Taylor building. They will occupy the same footprint with modifications made to the entrances, sidewalks, landscaping, lighting, and parking around the existing structure, and a facade update to 3 sides of the building, and then any carryovers from tonight.
Any comments or questions for Lisa? Okay. On the agenda this evening, first up, the Brownell site plan modification. This is a public hearing, 578 Eleanor Road. Owner Erica Brownell. The applicant's requesting approval for an existing landscape berm with a height of 3 feet, 16 feet wide in width and 78 feet in length. Also a secondary berm with a height of 6 inches, 16 feet wide and 30 feet in length. These were installed prior to a review by planning board. The applicant's also proposing to relocate a pre-existing shed on their property. Is Ms. Brown?
Over here.
Okay. You'd like to present your
My name's
application?
Michael Wise. I'm her husband. She's pregnant. She can't be here today.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we did this all with intent for safety for our family, honestly. We had a couple trees fall down in windstorms. One almost hit my truck, one almost hit the back of our deck. That's why trees were cleared, and that's why the berm was thought of to put into place. Obviously, Gillis Road is very busy these days, and cars do go super fast on it, so we kind of wanted a buffer from the road to our backyard. This is the first house we've ever built in Victor. I never knew I needed to come through and get a site plan, so that's shame on me. But yeah, I mean, it's all for the intent of just safety for our family, my daughter, and the new baby on the way. That was the reason why we did it.
Did you hire a contractor to do all that work?
I have,
Okay. Just want to confirm that.
yep. I didn't do it on my, no, I didn't do it on my own.
Lot of work.
We've moved into the house in July of 2024. That winter, we had a bunch of trees fall down. That was when the trees fell down, almost hit my car and my deck. So we did that in 2024 and then into 2025. And then we were just trying to figure out a way to try to give us a buffer from the road because it is busy. We did sign a letter and send it. I'm not sure if it went to the board, but it was all the residents in Eleanor and I think in New Brunswick, stating to people that fly through Eleanor and go to Gillis and go to High Street, just trying to get the either like speed bumps or something put in place. So that was kind of like residual effect of why we did what we did. Just safety, honestly, that's the main reason why we did what we did. Just give us a buffer. And I'm here just to try to come up with a compromise, try to figure out something, if we can't do that, just something that can help alleviate the noise from the road, just people walking up and down the road, and the speeders too. So
Okay. You had quite a bit of information in your packet that I'm sure the board was able to take a look at. So one of the items or elements of your project is drainage in that area prior to and now since. And I think Lobello is going to be looking at that. Wes, did you want to comment on what Lobello found?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so Lobella did review the site plan. We provided a letter, it was today, right? So March 10th.
Yep.
With I think it's 4 comments. Yeah, 4 comments. Seeker was number 1. I don't think that's a big issue here, right? That's just the environmental review aspect of this. The site plan drawing itself, we think that based on the drawing submitted, there's some inconsistency between the single berm that's shown on the site plan drawing and the applicant's letter of intent. Previous site conditions, we don't have any documentation of, for example, existing contours or previous contours on the project site. We understand that previous drainage conditions, what did we say here? Oh, it's difficult to understand what the previous drainage conditions were without the existing conditions plan showing the contours and utilities, but aerial imagery and the applicant photos provides a general idea of what the site looked like above ground. So, and then lastly, any drainage laterals that may have been installed as part of this project, it would be interesting to hear a little bit about whether any downspouts were connected to a drainage lateral anywhere. It appeared that maybe one of the downspouts might have been connected to a pipe that appears to daylight maybe between the 2 berms. I don't know that that's a big concern of the towns. I think ultimately it doesn't appear, based on our informal observations of the site and what we see from historic images, while the surface drainage might have changed a little bit on the project parcel, I don't think it doesn't appear that there's any significant change or impact to the town's right-of-way, whether it be Eleanor Drive or Gillis Road, and off-site conditions. It doesn't look like there's any real concern with that in that context. So that's all we've got right at this point, unless there are any questions. I've got some Eagle View images that show 2023, 2024, and 2025. If you want to see those, I can plug in my computer and take a look at those. But.
Okay, well, let's entertain comments from the board. Al?
No, I don't really have any issues with the fact that a berm was constructed, and I think it was an honest oversight. I think had it come before the board prior to it, likely would have been approved with the only stipulation that the consideration for the town right away, which I don't see any purpose served by saying it has to be moved out of, well, not the town right away, but the sewer, I think,
Yeah, the easement?
easement, yes.
Yep.
So, but I don't see any purpose being served by saying, right, it has to be changed, but again, as the homeowner should be aware that if any maintenance has to be done,
Yeah.
that it wouldn't be rebuilt to,
Mhm.
its
Yeah.
current state, so.
Yeah, if there's an underground line that has to be
Mm-hmm.
replaced
Yeah.
or added to, honestly, if there's a new one that comes along, the town or utilities who have the easement can't be responsible to restore all of the trees and the
Mhm.
berm and everything else, so, and that will likely be part of a resolution for future, should we approve it, so. Scott, questions?
I guess what Wes was getting at is, does the berm trap drainage? Does it hold drainage, or does the drainage flow around it?
Yeah, I mean, it drains the same way it did before we even put the berm up.
So there's,
It-
it's not causing any ponding or issues
No.
such as that? And did you know there was a sanitary sewer there when
I
you
do
did this?
not. Um,
And did you call
100%.
for a youth post stakeout or a utility stakeout or anything like that?
If you're going to speak, I need you up at the microphone, name and representing.
I did not, for the simple fact of we were planting it on top of the ground, so there was no digging. There was no digging because we went above the ground and added the soil. So that is my mistake. I've been doing this for 30 years. I always call for a stakeout, and I told your guys when they were there, but I literally was not digging. We were trying to get it in, the weather was coming, and literally, when they were there talking to me, it was pouring rain.
Can we get your name on, for the record?
Patrick Mahoney,
And you're representing?
that's Lawn Care Service. I'm the
Okay.
owner. I'm the one that did the work.
Okay.
Well, the work looks very good.
It will. It was supposed to be hydro-seeded, but it was raining, and then it snowed 2 days later.
I don't have any more questions.
Okay, Trish?
I agree. I think it was a, innocent oversight, but I did have a question in regards to, would we have any concern about the root system going into the sanitary sewer as the trees grow larger? Just a,
I don't see anything addressing that from comments from Farmington Water and Sewer.
I mean, that would be my only concern, and if that's not a concern, then
Okay. All right. I'll open the floor to the public because it is a public hearing. Does anyone here have any questions for the applicant or for the board for this application? Adam, was there anything from code's perspective? Okay. If that's the only, there are no other comments, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing. Al moves
I'll second.
and Scott seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Public hearing is closed. Any other comments or thoughts before we entertain the resolution?
I would just say, based on what the town of Farmington submitted, it doesn't seem like they have an objection to it.
Okay,
They'll let it stay as is.
all right. So we certainly understand your concern over safety and
Mhm.
shielding and things like that from Gillis Road, so I think you're getting some sympathy from the board. But as I understand it, we need to be clear about the future of the right-of-way and the berm there and the
Mhm.
potential for disturbance by Farmington Sewer regarding having to excavate or expand or whatever happens to be done along there. It's a force main, Wes, under there?
I believe at this point it is. Yeah, I believe at this point it is a force main. Yep.
Okay. All right, so if there's no objection, I'd like to read the resolution. We have it in. There it is. Glasses first. So for the Brownell site modification, 578 Eleanor Road, whereas the planning board made the following findings of fact, and there are eight of those. Resolved that the application of Michael, is it Wise?
Yep.
And Erica Brownell, site plan entitled Brownell Site Plan Modification received by the planning board January 22nd, 2026, Planning Board application 02SB 2026 be approved with the following conditions. Number one, or conditions to be addressed prior to chairman's signature on the site plan. Number one is standard. Number two, that the comments in a letter dated February 3rd, 2026 from the town of Farmington Water and Sewer be addressed. Number three, that comments in a letter dated February 24th, 2026 from the code officer be addressed. That comments in a letter dated March 10th, 2026 from Labella Associates be addressed. Wes, for that comment from, I believe it was Farmington, regarding the future need, it should in the future that site needs to be excavated for utility work, but they will not restore the property.
Yeah, I think that was the fundamental aspect of their
Mhm.
comment.
Right.
Yep.
So should that comment should go under an ongoing condition, I would
Yep,
presume?
we can, yep,
Yeah,
we can do that.
okay, let's add that as number 2. And you can use the wording from their office if you like. So ongoing conditions, site plan comply with Town of Victor design and construction standards for land development, including section 4, number 2, the comment regarding future work and the fact that it will not be restored by the town, should that have to occur.
Mhm.
So you fully understand that.
Yep.
And be further resolved that the planning board secretary distribute the planning board's approval letter. So on that resolution, I'll entertain a motion with the correction.
Move it.
Scott moves,
Second.
Trish seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried 4-0. So with those modifications, appreciate your coming to the board and
Thank you.
enlightening us. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm sure the contractor, next time he goes for above ground or below, will verify easements. Okay. Application number 2, Victor Crossing, Cava site plan modification. This is at the former Piecraft, I think it is, pizza place. 441 Commerce Drive, owner Benderson Development, applicants requesting approval to modify the existing building facade to allow for revised facade at the former Piecraft tenant space. Also included is the removal of the existing patio at the rear of the building and to provide for a new sidewalk connection. Good evening.
Good evening, Chairman, members of the board. Matthew Oates with Benderson Development. We are requesting site plan and facade modifications to allow for Cava to take over the former Piecraft Pizza Place. They would be located on the north end of the existing Chipotle building. Can I flip? There we go. So in regards to the site plan, we are proposing a couple of exterior site plan changes to the site. We are going to be removing the existing patio that's in back. This is because there is no access based upon Cava's interior layout, actually from inside the space to the back. And then also based on its location near the dumpster enclosure that's back there, they just didn't see it really as an attractive feature. We tried it with Piecraft. It didn't really get a lot of use with Piecraft, so they thought just removing it would be the best out there. And then looking at adding in a sidewalk connection that leads to the dumpster just to make easy access for employees. And then also adding a couple of bollards on the north side just to provide vehicle protection for the windows that are on that side as the drive lane goes right up to the windows. In regards to the facade, proposing to generally maintain the same look of the building, just modifying how that look is kind of structured. So currently, there is the residential style bump that sits in the middle above the AT&T building. We're proposing to take that bump, shift it left, still have it in the same style with the same architectural shingles, the same vertical board look as well. It'll be slightly lower than the existing because the existing bump's above the roof line. This is now tying in to make a consistent roof line and match the bump that is on the other side as well. They're also proposing to take the white color that is on this side that exists, the north side here. They're going to continue that on the north and then bring that around the front to have a consistent white color for their look as well there. Then they'll be just doing, removing a couple of lights and infill along the back. And then for the AT&T space, there'll be a new look with the brick pier that is added here to kind of define the difference between the AT&T space and the CAVA space. As part of the project, we got comments from Labella. We did make a resubmittal addressing Labella's comments, and then you did get an updated letter from Labella stating that we did satisfactorily address all the comments. We also did get code comments. One of them was in regards to the fire access lane on what would be the north side of the building based upon the new metal canopy that is proposed on this side, bumping out 3'10". There will still be approximately a 25-foot drive lane off of that canopy on that side, which meets the 20-foot requirement for a fire access lane that was in question. We have updated the site plan that Costage prepared to call out the 3-foot clearance around the hydrant to get all the landscaping removed from there as well, to bring that back up to code. Just the landscaping in that area has kind of been overgrown. CAVA will not be putting any additional signage in any of the windows, just the signs they are proposing on both the north and the west sides of the building. Understanding that the north side is not code compliant, request that we get tabled this evening. CAVA will be applying for a variance to allow for that sign, so understanding that the board can't make a decision to the zoning board makes a decision about that sign. And then no alcohol will be served either. So I believe that is the main changes we are proposing. Happy to answer any questions that the board has.
Okay, thank you. This is a public hearing also. We will open it up to the public when we're gone through the board comments. Scott?
I have no comments.
Okay. Trish?
I have no comments.
Okay. Al?
No comments other than to see, good to get the building, keep it, fully occupied.
Mhm.
So other than that, I'm fine.
Yeah, architecture looks fine. It's definitely consistent with everything else
Yep.
that's in the area on that building and in the entire neighborhood. And I did see that you had updated the drawings to meet the comments that you got from Labella, so that's appreciated for this meeting as well. So with that, open it up to the public. Anyone interested in or have any questions for the applicant or for this application? I assume none online, Susie? Okay. We are online, so we do get comments occasionally from those watching. Okay, well, in that case, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing. Al moves.
I'll second.
You good?
Scott seconds. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. I don't think we have any other comments. Wes, was there anything from your perspective?
No, we're satisfied at Labella, so
Yeah,
all set here.
okay. All right, so all we're waiting for is a variance, correct?
Yep.
From the
Right.
zoning board. So
Right. Sounds good. Thank you very much,
no
everyone.
objections from us. Thank you.
All right, have a great evening.
You too. Okay, item 3, AT&T Singular Wireless, Old Dutch Road. Applicants requesting approval to modify equipment on the existing 135-foot monopole tower, remove one surge arrestor, 3 TMA, and 12 pipe-to-pipe clamps, and install new antennas and equipment. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Brenda Blask-Lewis. I'm here on behalf of AT&T and Centerline Communications. Bill Hurley actually submitted the application. And like you said, what AT&T is proposing to do is upgrade some equipment currently installed on the tower, which will include removing one surge arrestor, basically swapping out a DC6 for a DC9. And they're going to add 3 antennas, remove 3 tower mount amplifiers, and the rest of it is like the pipe-to-pipe clamps. It's maintenance. So the changes won't increase the height of the tower, and the ground space isn't going to, the size won't increase.
Regarding the output from the antennas, is there any difference in radiation, radiant output from?
It would be
equipment?
very minimal. The
Okay.
antennas that they're putting up are Air 6472s, which are basically like 5G antennas.
Okay.
I don't know if Bill provided you with a frequency range, but, he can.
Mhm.
But any change would be minimal.
Okay,
I would say less than 1%.
okay. Okay, comments from the board. Al?
Are there any ground modifications being made as well, adding cabinets or moving cabinets?
I think the scope of work does cover some ground equipment, so it would probably, the changes would be inside the cabinets themselves,
Okay.
putting in some newer technology.
All right, thank you.
Okay, Scott?
So you're just basically working off an existing system and you're improving it, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, no questions, no more questions for me.
Trish?
So is the main goal just improving coverage in the area?
Yep, exactly. And just routine maintenance. I mean, like the tower mount amplifiers, those are kind of outdated, so they're just taking that equipment down.
Got it, Trish, or others?
Do you have an annually the equipment is tested and it's a,
I'm not quite sure if the town requires, I'm sure AT&T will run any tests that they need to. I'm just not sure what the town requires.
I think I was reading that, like, it is required because
Did they
of
do like
the
an annual,
distance.
or-
There was like a distance to the park that made it a requirement to be
Okay.
annually inspected, and I didn't know if that was being done every year.
Okay, and I can check with AT&T and see when the last test was done,
Okay,
and then provide you with a copy of whatever the results are.
okay, great, thank you.
I have no other questions, and I will open it up to the community if anyone has any comments or questions. We see these upgrades a lot, so shouldn't be a big surprise. It's great that the antennas don't have to get any taller and lighting and all that. We watch for very carefully, so having seen none, entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll move.
Al moves,
Second.
and Scott seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Wes, anything from LaBella's perspective?
No, not on this application.
Okay, thank you. All right, we do have a draft resolution. If you guys are okay with that, we can move forward with this. So, resolution for AT&T Singular Wireless, 795 Old Dutch Road, application 2SU 2026, whereas the planning board made the following findings of fact. There are 9 of them. Now therefore be resolved, the application of William Hurley, agent for Centerline Communications, 750 West Center Street, West Bridgewater, Massachusetts. Site plan entitled AT&T Singular Wireless, located at 795 Old Dutch Road, drawn by POD Engineering Group, dated December 16th, 2025, received by the Planning Board Secretary, January 29th, 2026. Planning Board Special Use Application 2SU 2026 be approved with the following conditions. Number 1 is the standard ongoing conditions. 1 is standard, 2 is standard, so they're both standard conditions. And be further resolved that the Planning Board Secretary distribute the Planning Board's approval letter. Entertain a motion for approval of this resolution.
I'll move. Oh, I think Scott.
Scott moves,
I'll second.
and Al seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carried 4-0. So,
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Have a good evening.
Application number 4, Vasta Site Plan Modification. This is an, oh, Collier. Oh. Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Collier, you knew who was going to be next.
I had a feeling it was me.
Yeah, okay.
Good evening, Brendan Marks with Marks Engineering here representing the applicant for this lot. It was subdivided 2 to 3 years ago. And they just are proposing a different house footprint, a little bit change in elevation in the finished floor. Just a clarification, we are still proposing an infiltration trench for the stormwater coming off the roofs.
Is that what was shown on one of the drawings in a color?
Yeah,
It was like purple or something, a hatched area or shaded area?
yeah. It was in a purple color, yes.
Yeah.
You can see it right in this plan. You can see it right here. In the banks. Well, I'm sorry. This is the approved plan. So if you want
Go
to,
to the next slide.
There it is.
Yeah, so this is, yep. Oh, now I did it. I'll use the other one, sorry. It is right here. That is the infiltration trench proposed.
Okay. So what's significant about the change in the building footprint?
Yeah, building footprint. Instead of a front load set garage, they have a side load garage,
Okay,
in the house setback from the garage.
so that required a change in elevation of the. for
The
finished
house, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. From Labella perspective, anything, Wes, that jumps out?
Yeah, Labella's comments, they weren't too terribly complicated. Let's see what I have here. Number one, for seeker, this is a type 2 action, right? So classification as such would just conclude the seeker process. Limited of disturbance, we noted that the proposed silt fence is now on the outside of the proposed limit of disturbance, which should be addressed. And let's see. Prior plan seemed to indicate 28,995 square feet on lot 3, and the proposed plan is 29,255 square feet, a change of 260 square feet. That doesn't trigger a significant change, such that a notice of intent modification would be required. Infiltration trench, he's addressed that question. We knew, I think we knew that it was going to be still part of the plans. It just didn't show up on the grading plan this time. So, and then there's just maybe some clarification on one of the grading contours that we commented on. So there's also another minor comment, contour 646, that just kind of seems to maybe end, and I think that just needs to be resolved on the plan. And it doesn't look like there's too much change in terms of how the surface drainage is going to be conveyed. It doesn't look like, for example, drainage is going to be conveyed into the road, because it looks like the elevation, the contours, wouldn't, it would be prevented. So I
Yeah,
don't
the
think,
site is lower than the road for sure.
Yeah.
We'll resolve those conflicts in the contours, no
Yeah.
problem.
just minor comments. So nothing, no showstoppers on our end.
Okay, great. Well, I start at the other end of the table, Trish. Any questions?
No, I do not have any.
Okay,
I don't have any.
all right. Al? Okay, I just had the question regarding that infiltration trench. Is that taking all of the foundation drainage,
No, just the roof water.
just the roof, and that it's piped over to that trench, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
Otherwise, pretty straightforward. I assume the setback to the side from the driveway is code, Wes?
Yep, I think
10 feet.
it's depicted to be 10 feet, and that's what the standards require. Yep.
Okay, good. From the public, it is a public hearing and it's open. Anyone have any questions regarding this application? Okay, entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Move it.
Scott moves
Second?
and Trish seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, carried 4-0. Public hearing's closed. I think that's all we had for questions, and if you guys are good with this, I'll read the resolution for approval.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Collier Park, lot number 3 modification, 6745 Collier Crossing, whereas the planning board made the following findings of fact. There are 7 of them. Now therefore be resolved the application of the Liv Paul site plan entitled Collier Park, lot number 3 modification, drawn by Marks Engineering, dated January 8th, 2026, received by the planning board February 3rd, 2026. Planning board application number 5 SP 2026B, approved with the following conditions. Conditions to be addressed prior to chairman's signature on the site plans. Number 1 is standard. Number 2, that comments from code enforcement officer dated February 11th, 2026 be addressed. Number 3, that the comments in a letter dated March 9th, 2026 from Labella Associates be addressed. Ongoing conditions, and they are both standard, and be it further resolved that the planning board secretary distribute the planning board's approval letter. So, no modifications to this resolution as written. Entertain a motion.
I'll move.
Al moves.
Second.
Scott seconds. All in favor?
Right?
Aye.
Carried 4-0. You're welcome. Now it's faster? Okay. Got it. Okay. Back to what's number 4 on our list here, Vasta Site Plan Modification. This is an open public hearing, 681 Phillips Road, owner Della Buscemi. Applicants requesting approval to modify the approved site plan 2020 to include the paved area that was installed, the current parking layout and drive aisles, the landscaping and screening changes, and stormwater system changes. And our codes office has reviewed this extensively and will be able to contribute this evening, but good evening.
Good evening, Chairman and members of the board. My name is Kyle Twombly with APD Engineering Architecture. MTM Automotive is seeking an as-built site plan modification to the approved April 2020 site plan for keeping the remaining asphalt as is, existing gravel to remain around the north and east end of the building. Stormwater plan modifications, not including the catch basin and drainage pipe that was originally proposed, and keeping parking within the setback that it was built as is.
The Codes Office put together some very useful illustrations on the differences between what was approved and what is out there right now. And so I believe Adam's in a position to do that. And Susie, you have the slides for that?
He's got the clicker.
Okay. Adam's going to click away, I think.
Okay.
Grab this clicker.
Okay, Adam Ryzek, Town of Victor Planning and Building Department, Code Enforcement. I am not the artist of this illustration. Unfortunately, Code Enforcement Officer Frank Mueller couldn't be here tonight. So I've been briefed. I'm going to go over this. I just may not be 100% prepared to answer some of your questions. So the intent of this demonstration is just to show how the site plan has been deviated from and/or areas that have not been executed per the approved site plan. It has been color-coded. I have a little key here. We'll start with these red areas. These are areas that this approved site plan show as unpaved impervious surface, or non-impervious surface. And based on this satellite image, these areas have been paved and they are being utilized for parking. That's the first deviation. Secondly, the approved parking is these 5 spots here. And then there was an impound area here. And this orange line shows the entire area that was supposed to be paved. So this area that was approved for parking isn't quite being utilized as such. The impound area isn't quite being utilized as such. And this whole area remains gravel. Now, the applicant was granted an area variance to leave that as millings for a period of 3 years. That time frame has expired, and it is still not paved. Let's see. The ADA parking was approved here near the entrance to the building, which is the reasonable location. It has not been installed. The impound area Was originally supposed to be fenced in. It does not have a fence in that area. There is a perimeter fence that's been installed with a gate that comes around like this. The gate somewhat impedes the ability to utilize the parking the way it was intended and for the through traffic. This page doesn't show it, but there was a stormwater management facility, as the applicant mentioned, in this area, which had a 10-inch pipe. There was a 24 by 24-inch drain inlet here, and the pipe conveyed the water that would be coming off of the paved area to this stormwater management facility. To the best of our knowledge, that none of that has been installed. There was some additional landscaping required, trees approved for screening. Those do not look to be installed. And the applicant has added a paint booth to the interior, which isn't prohibited, but the exhaust for the paint booth should be reflected on the site plan and reviewed. And with that, I'll try to answer any of your questions.
Adam, are there any special requirements, and you may not know this, for filtering paint exhaust? Even if you show where it's going to be exhausting to,
So I think
that wasn't an original
let me pull out
service, I think, that the applicant,
Frank's comments here because I do believe he touched on it.
okay.
Actually, I believe the comment I'm thinking of was from Labella, and it was just received today.
Yeah, I can articulate a little bit, right? So the comment letter that we provided today, we did have a comment about paint booth exhaust. And number one, the exhaust system must comply with section 211-24D-9, which requires that the facility not produce smoke, dust, odors, or other emissions detectable beyond the property boundaries. And the system should also comply with applicable OSHA standards. We also mentioned that if the paint booth uses a water-based washing or filtration system to capture paint particles, the applicant should describe how wastewater is collected and disposed of. Pursuant to section 211-24A, subparagraph 9H, floor drains must discharge to a holding tank or sanitary sewer equipped with an oil and grit separator. So it looks like code enforcement noted that a building permit application had been submitted for modification of the sprinkler system associated with the paint booth installation.
But not the equipment required to catch materials from the paint booth, it sounds like.
See the comment? This is the first portion.
Answer some of those questions if you like.
Sure, go ahead.
I'm Max Vost. I'm the owner of MTM Automotive. The paint booth is a EPA-approved booth with filtration. We are not using, at this time, water-based paint. We don't have floor drains.
So your filters, your paint booth has the appropriate filters or approved filters in order to remove all of the
Correct.
particulate from paint
Correct, yes.
overspray. How about odors?
I don't believe there'd be any odors on the outside. That is part of the filtration system
Okay.
that collects all that.
All right, I think what we would probably want to get a copy or at least some information regarding that system.
Yeah, the books to the paint booth were submitted to the town, so they have all the
Okay,
informations of the particular paint booth that we installed.
all right. We'll check with the town codes to see if that information is adequate, I guess. I'll start with the rest of the board, I guess. Al?
Well, I guess there's, obviously a number of variances from the original approved plan that I think need to be addressed.
I'd call them deviations.
Deviations, yes, thank you. I drive by there frequently, and I think that aerial view reasonably depicts the normal state of affairs, so that's not like an anomaly. I think
Right.
that it clearly shows that there's kind of lack of defined parking and probably more parking than is appropriate for the site, so there's probably some things that need to be addressed.
Okay. That it?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, Scott?
I guess I have a couple of questions. One question would be, why hasn't the property been brought into conformity up to this point? In other words, why are we here today?
We understand that that there are nonconformities with the code, and the site has been constructed the way it is, and significant amount of time and capital has been put into the site. So we understand that this probably, like, we're not going to get everything that we'd be asking for, but would be looking for any sort of compromise, whether it's relief in a parking setback, keeping the driveway width as is, but moving parking off of the first 20 or 30 feet of the right-of-way line, whether it's continuing to finish constructing the stormwater plan or add additional screening that would make it look more visually appealing. We were just trying to see if there would be any compromise that we could make so we could make revisions to the amended site plan that we submitted and move towards a resolution.
I guess, let me ask it in a different way. Why has it taken 5 years to get to this point? I guess I don't understand. I remember when you came in and we approved this, we were informed that this was going to be a towing operation. And I know as I've driven by over the years, I've photographed probably a half dozen times, cars were for sale out front. I don't understand, this wasn't proposed to be a car dealership. This was proposed to be a towing operation. And I think the photograph that's shown there shows very clearly, well, not only the nonconformity to what was originally approved, but also it looks to me, from a classic site development standpoint, that you're trying to get more out of a piece of property than it's possible to get. You're putting 50 pounds in a 10-pound bag is what you're doing. And to try to scramble everything around and fit it here and fit it there, it's the classic site yield that won't happen. So that's one comment I have, but I just think when I go back and I look in March 10th, 2020, and the letter of intent and the explanation of what's going to happen here, it indicates that you want to be compatible with the character of the existing neighborhood. Now, that to me is not compatible with that neighborhood at all. So I'm puzzled to know why we should be forfeiting any of the design that was originally approved to try to achieve that goal that was stated 5 years ago. So those are my comments.
Care to respond?
Obviously, the picture was taken, and at the time, there was a little bit extra. If anybody's actually driven by in the last year, it doesn't look anything like that. Originally, the code enforcement officer came in, and he didn't like how we were parking cars in the front grass, behind the fence. What side is that considered? The south side, and all those cars have been removed. The trailer from the front of the house has been removed. The big white storage container has been removed. I do not park any cars on the lawn anymore. I respected what they asked, and at the end of the night, all the cars in the front parking lot, if there's one, it's probably a lot. I usually move everything back inside. There might be a car that that I can't get inside, but usually the whole front parking lot is empty. All the cars that are on the side of the north side are not there. There might be 2, 3 cars that are waiting pickup at this point. I mean, that's just a picture that I see that they picked the worst thing possible, and it doesn't look anything like that.
One of the reasons I think that if you, to refute that is, you've got all this extra pavement and you tend to use it. And the question I think Scott was asking is why, it took 5 years to get to this point. What are all the added uses that you've expanded to? And, it would have made sense if you'd come back to the board and said, look, I have all these other things I want to add to my business. What can we do to get this, to accommodate those?
Well, I was okayed a auto repair shop with towing. Cars do come in and they do leave. I don't have cars that are just sitting up on blocks collecting, grass around it, although it looks awful and that's not a proud picture, but it does not look anything like that. I mean, the house has been revamped on 2 sides. We're going to continue now that the weather's breaking. So the house is going to be not looking the way it is. We're almost done with that. I mean, over 90% of what you see is not even there. I mean, it's that's a 2-year-old picture, if not a lot more.
What about the drainage and the detention pond, I guess?
The pond has been built. The catch basin on the north side with the 10-inch pipe going to that has not been put in. I don't have a problem installing that. I was granted 3 years to pave up to the front door, but that's as far as we were going to go with it. On the original site plan, it says gravel parking. It does not say millings. It doesn't say anything else, but it is gravel parking. It's on page 2 of my original site plan. And that's what we okayed 5 years ago, or however much it was. The size of the front parking lot was designed before I even applied for the pole barn. Sent to the highway superintendent by Al Benedict. When I first bought the property, I asked him, I have a whole bunch of tow trucks and it's a 1-lane dirt driveway. What can I do to make this thing bigger? He told me, and I quote, as long as you're 18 foot back from the road, you can make it as wide as you want. And I said, Al, what about if I need it just as wide across the front of the road? And he said, well, you have to go see the highway superintendent, which I did, which Mark came, and we had a talk why I needed it like that. And I told him a lot of it is for safety. The road is 50 miles an hour, and they drive by there at least 65 to get to the other end of a cut-through road. And it was okayed. If he had the jurisdiction or not, it's not my fault. He did okay the parking lot to be 52 feet wide, just the way it's designed. Yes, I did not stand by the original site plan, but that driveway was okayed for safety before the barn was even thought of. And I might have not done the right thing, but I tried to ask the correct people, and they guided me and okayed the 52 by up to the front door.
Well, but you understand what was approved and what's on the record as being approved, and that was something you were directed to do.
And if you read the old original minutes, multiple times I said, well, I already have a permit to have the driveway the size it is. And the lady just said that it didn't look right. Unfortunately, we're not a Burger King, and there's not just cars coming in and out. I need the width of that so I can pull in with a double tow truck that's over 75 feet and I need to get off the road so I don't block traffic. That was one of the biggest things about having the driveway the size it is. I'm on a curve up a hill, so if you're coming from Route 251, a lot of people don't even know what's going on until they get to the house. You're going uphill, and I don't know how many times I'm mowing the lawn, and there's a tractor trailer almost hitting the grass because they're not paying attention. So my original concern to Mark and Al was for me to have something wide enough where I can actually pull in and wait for traffic to clear. That was my original thought behind that.
So typically, when we have either variances or deviations from what would be a standard detail, you'd have the engineering show what turnarounds are and radii, for emergency equipment or semis in a case of an industrial building where they need to have space to turn and to go to loading docks and things like that. And you don't have that, but from what you're describing, if you have a large tow truck and a vehicle behind it in tow, you need to show the board why you need that versus.
That's kind of where we're trying to find some compromises, as we would have that capability to draw on the as-built plan, a truck circulation guide through the site to show why a tow truck would be required for safety maneuverability.
So I would suggest that you come with a drawing that shows what you actually need, rather than just saying, please approve what was already there today, even though it's not even close to what was originally agreed to and approved by the board.
Right. Yeah,
But that doesn't, so I guess I'd like to hear from the rest of the board and our engineer about and codes frankly, about other things that are deficient that should be brought up. In other words, you got landscaping. There's, on the north side of that, it looks to me that it's not landscaped at all, and it's got a lot of junk accumulated there in this image. I understand you're saying that it's an old aerial, but if you had landscaping there, you wouldn't be putting material or have a tendency to put materials there.
So I apologize about this whole site plan and this whole mix-up of everything. But both my original engineer failed me a little bit, and I apologize, the town did also. And a lot of it is also my own fault. There's trees going all the way around the property. And originally, when I was up here telling you what I was going to do, I was going to add trees to the opened spots where the trees are a little bit dead. When we went to put the pad for the building, I called my engineer and I said, something's a little odd. These trees don't look like they're on my property. And at that point, they said, no, they're not. So my engineer didn't even bother educating me, saying, well, you can add trees to your tree line that's not yours, but at some point, they can remove your trees if they don't want them there. So at that point, when I found out that those trees that go all the way around the property aren't mine, I went and got a permit for a fence all the way around the building. So on the north side, there's a 6-foot fence, and it's at the edge of the property. I mean, I have no problem, and I'm sure Redcom wouldn't care if I put some pine trees, if you like, across there. But it's very, there's vegetation that's overgrown there, and it just looks like a normal field. But if you guys would like some pine trees put on the north side, and I can put them, as far as up as, you want, but that's the reason why the 6 trees that were on the site plan weren't put in, because I installed a fence all the way around it. As far as, the landscaping, I'm not sure if you guys have driven by my place during the summer, but there's a lot of beautiful landscaping with flowers and all sorts of stuff going on. I mean, it doesn't look like a repair shop like that. I mean, it might look a little bit, not to the best during a regular business hours, but after business hours, I don't keep anything out front at all. And that's the same thing as Pinnacle having a convention with, 100 buses that aren't even parked in a parking spot that I look across.
Well, there's no comparison there, let's put it that way.
It is. I mean, if I could just know, the reason, okay, we would.
Got anything else?
I did read through and I saw that the highway superintendent did say that you could pave within the right-of-way, but he didn't define the width of your driveway. He indicated that you could make it wider within the right-of-way, which is the town-owned property, which is the 18 feet that he indicated from the road.
He gave me the permit along with the drawing that I gave him, and that's what he signed off on it. And that's right at the town. I mean, if he said that he couldn't do anything with the rest of the driveway, then he should have spoke up and said, it's not my jurisdiction. But as far as I got out of him, he was okaying the driveway to be the size. I mean,
It's not the town's highway department's responsibility for anything off of the right-of-way. So if he was approving something, as Scott said.
I didn't go and make it up. I asked Al Benedict, which was the code enforcement officer, of what I should do to have the driveway the way it is. And that's who sent me to Mark. I wouldn't have done that on my own.
But you got from the board a drawing, an approved plan that shows exactly what the board and the town through the board accepted. So there's no reason that you should have had to ask somebody else without coming back to the
The
board.
driveway was built before the barn was even thought of, sir.
Okay, well,
So it was already there for the towing part of it. I didn't know I was gonna build a barn until over a year later.
okay, so then wouldn't it have been appropriate to come to the board and say, hey, I want to do this and modify the site plan? So, I mean, you're throwing a few people under the bus all
I'm
along
not
the
trying
way
to throw,
here.
absolutely not am I throwing anybody under the
Well,
bus.
the town highway
When the lady
department
said it
and
just
the
doesn't
codes-
look right because it's over 100 feet and you can go and read all the minutes, and I kept saying, but I already have a permit on that, and nobody just spoke up and said, well, you can do whatever you do with that, it's not good either.
Well, looking at the record, I mean, you talked about paving and not paving and gravel and not. It says under the resolution from 2020, May 11th.
Up to the front door, 3
it says
years.
That the parking areas and drive aisles shall be paved within 3 years of the date of the variance. So
Up
that's,
to the front door,
it doesn't say up to the front door. It says drive aisles and parking areas.
Why would my page 2 of the map say gravel parking? I can show it to you.
It shows what's there and what's allowed to stay in
No,
for
it
3
was dirt.
years.
There was nothing there.
Well, they gave you a 3-year grace period.
Up to the front door, sir.
That's not what it says here.
I know, you guys can just say whatever you want.
No, I'm not saying whatever I want. I'm just saying what's here. So that's the record. Now, we can talk about, is it okay to leave it that way? But I'm just telling you what we have in front of us as a board. Okay? So I understand that you have,
I tried to do the right thing from the first day I bought the property by asking the right questions.
so you said you had fencing around the north side of the building. On the original plan, it shows just in the back for impoundment parking, correct?
So
On the east side?
before back to me not knowing that those trees were mine, what we were gonna do is an oversized dumpster area on the back part of the building, if you will. It was gonna be 21 feet out from the corner and 60 foot, so like a big dumpster area where the parking lot behind us couldn't see the wrecked cars while they sat there. At that point, when I put the fence all the way around it, there wouldn't be a need for another fence inside a fence.
Right.
That's why I didn't put that.
I just don't, I mean, you didn't have the fence on the original application, so,
Yeah, I went and got a permit for the fence. So right here is where this up to here would be the 21-foot fence to hide what I had back there from the back parking lot or from Omni Tech area. Once we put the fence all the way around the building, I didn't think, I mean, having a fence inside a fence was,
So are you saying that, I mean, we can go all around the whole site if you want, but right now you have in this aerial, not right now, but in this aerial, it shows cars parked on the grass or gravel or whatever's over there.
a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, when the code enforcement officer said that I can't have cars there, there hasn't been a car there in 2 years.
Okay, so then this should be all grass, correct? And then there's a retention or detention pond here?
Correct.
There will be or is?
There is.
And then you say you still have to tie in drainage at this corner northeast, I'll call it, down to the retention pond?
I mean, it's gonna be gravel, and I absolutely have no water issues, even when we have total torrential downfall. That pond area does not hold water at all.
And you have no problem, you have no issues with
But if I have to
oil
put
or
it in,
things
absolutely
onto
not.
the
It
ground?
just- The property is so fine sanded, nothing, when they were doing the water testing for the sprinkler system, they put 3 fire hoses out to the front yard for, I think it was a 2-hour period, and not once did the water even go to the street. It just soaks water, and there's never a puddle anywhere. If you guys would like for me to put the 10-inch pipe with a catch basin on the other side, that's fine, but it's not needed, but
The
I'm okay
stormwater,
with that.
oh, sorry, the stormwater manager does have this for review. He is finishing up his review, so you will have those comments probably within this week
Okay,
for the next meeting.
all right.
And the original engineer also said that the property holds no water, but if the town needs the 100-year pond put in, or ditch, basically,
Well, in my opinion, it's the 2020 site plan shows a lot of impervious surface focused or headed towards that 2-foot square DI. And then if the pipe goes to the retention pond, take all that water and focus it on a infiltration basin. So there's a reason for that, instead of just letting it sheet off. I don't know, Wes, if you, can you shed some light on it too?
Yeah, I can share some. Share some screens. I can show a little bit of the previous site plan and the signed Mylars. I think I've got a copy of those. And then I've got some memos from the previous review of the project that I'd be happy to review. So I'll go ahead and plug in my computer. How's that? We'll see if this works.
Third time's a charm.
Yeah, I'm on duplicate. Doesn't seem to be working, maybe. Well, something happened.
That was hers, right?
Seems like it wants to, it just not working. I'm gonna have to get a new computer. All right, I guess that's not gonna work. So what I'm seeing on my screen, right? I can go to like a 2020 aerial photograph from Google Earth, and maybe I'll just unplug this and we'll see what happens. And I can see that the driveway, right? I can see before you installed the driveway, right, for the towing service. I can see that it was very, small residential, almost like a dirt driveway, maybe, right? Maybe gravel. And then I see the expansion of the driveway, maybe when you started the towing business there. And the initial site plan that was submitted, it's dated March 10th, 2020, and it shows that wide expanse of driveway that basically is what you have, maybe it's what you have out there now. And so when we initially reviewed the site plan, we did make our first comment in our letter dated April 14th, 2020. We talked about the driveway radius and the curb cut width. And the comment was based on the town's section 55 or chapter 55 of the town's code, access, connection, and requirements. And we cited section 55-5, paragraphs J, 1, and 2, and in that portion of the code, it talks about a driveway return, also referred to as a radius, shall be designed to accommodate the types of traffic designated to use the driveway. A curved radius design should be used unless the driveway meets the design standards for a taper layout at a minor commercial driveway as specified in the New York State DOT's policy and standards for design entrances to state highways. The radius of the street-type driveway connection shall be as required in the Town of Victor design and construction standards for land development or applicable design standards of the roadway authority. The radius should be designed to accommodate the swept turning path of the design vehicle so that the vehicle does not overtrack the corner. The effect of the driveway return on pedestrian travel must also be considered. I don't know if there are very many pedestrians that cross in front of your property, but that's maybe one of the considerations that was given to the design of the project, the driveway radius. So I don't know, you mentioned that your design vehicle is maybe 70-some feet in length, right? Your tow truck. I don't know what that is, but it might be useful to have a turning diagram that shows the particular design vehicle that you're working with to, verify your assertion that you need that width of the driveway. Because I think as a result of your initial submission and the design plans from March 10th, 2020, as a result of that review, your design engineer modified to have that kind of radius put in for the driveway, as is kind of shown on this diagram here. So I guess that's dealing with the radius. I looked at historic aerial imagery. I see exactly what you're talking about in terms of the property being cleaned up in more recent years, right? I see that a number of those vehicles have been removed from the project site. I see that, maybe some sort of excavation was done where the stormwater management facility was intended to be. And I also see on the plans that the parking spaces on that north side of the lot, and maybe even the drive aisle and the impound area behind the building, were intended to be gravel. I see the call out in the leader that points to that. And I think part of our conversation, we also provided a supplemental memo on April 14th that had to do with drainage, right? And it was the applicant's assumption at that time that proposed gravel parking can be treated as permeable pavement. And we noted in our memo that the DEC definition indicates impervious area or cover means all impermeable surface that cannot effectively infiltrate rainfall. This includes paved concrete gravel surfaces, i.e. parking lots, driveways, roads, runways, and sidewalks. So I think there was some assumption or consideration given that although maybe there was some gravel surface there, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's permeable. And I think that's part of why maybe the catch basin was designed to convey that stormwater to the I don't know if I want to call it an infiltration area, but the stormwater management area to the south of the building. And then we did issue a letter just today on the updated or on the site plan applications that's been submitted for your review. But sorry, I can't transmit my screen onto the public's viewing screen. I'll have to resolve that. The town of Victor did what they could, and I'm going to have to work with my IT folks to get it resolved. Any questions for me at this point?
From the board?
So it also is more than just my particular tow truck. I work on a lot of large vehicles that get towed in by other companies, and sometimes they're pointed the wrong way. The size of the driveway allows me to be able to spin whatever vehicle size in the driveway without going back out on the road and causing some sort of issue. There's more to the size of the driveway they originally thought of than just my personal tow truck going in and out. I work on a lot of small fleets of vehicles in the area, and sometimes I'll have 2, 3 Tambi electric vehicles that are broken down that get towed in. I need that pavement to be able to spin the vehicle around without spending a half hour out on the road to guide it back in the right way. I only have one overhead door, so it's, that's why I originally wanted the driveway that big.
So if your site plan that you bring back shows the area that you need for turnarounds, unloading, all of that kind of stuff, with some depiction of the turning radius or the combination of truck and tow, that can go a long way to justify your request to expand that paved area to basically what you've got now. It sounds like that's what you want, correct? We also need to know what you're still planning on using the side and the back of the building for. If you're going to use it as an impound, you said you've got fencing where there wasn't in 2020 that you need for, I'm not sure, unless that whole area is impoundment.
So I use the side for vehicles that might be torn down waiting for parts. I put them out of sight, so they're not in the front parking lot.
Okay, so your new site plan should show the fencing that you want to have. You may already have it, but we need to approve that because it's not what we've approved already in 2020.
Okay.
All right?
And I don't have a problem if I need to put the catch basin with piping into the other side. That's not a problem.
I would suggest doing that, and any landscaping, and the plan from 2020 also shows in those red circles up there are probably an approximation of what was shown in the plan for additional trees or screening to match or similar to the other trees that are around. It may or may not be on your lot, but to be consistent, adding that screening along the property line will help alleviate and help you conform to the original plan.
And I don't think Redcom's going to have a problem
Uh,
for me to install pine trees on their side.
Well,
I don't know, they might. You don't want to put stuff on somebody else's property.
Typically, an applicant wouldn't apply landscaping or fencing on an adjacent property.
Right.
I mean, that would not be normal.
Well, I know who they are, so I could ask them if they mind, if that makes
Well,
you guys.
but your site plan should show what you're doing on your lot.
Okay, well, where the original trees were where they wanted me to screen the cars, the parking spaces that were gonna be on the side of the building. At this point, there's a 6-foot fence all the way around. That's why the trees aren't there, because,
Well, then the fencing may be in lieu of, landscape.
yeah, there's a fence all the way around the property that's 6 foot tall, so there's,
All right, so you're talking about this fencing, I'll start from here,
yep,
going south,
yep.
across
all-
to the east, all the way up, and then back again and here, correct? And the trees or screening plantings,
Those would be on,
those would be on your property. Redcom is up at this line, I think, right?
those trees are actually, the fence is on the property line.
So if you're not going to plant trees, but this should still be graded and seeded as green space, because you're not using it, correct?
But where's the property line? I guess that's a point of clarification.
Yeah,
Up there.
I'm looking at that it's fences out here?
Okay.
Those are
That with the shadow?
those are GIS lot lines too. They are not accurate.
Yeah, okay. That I
Oh,
get.
yeah.
So it looks like the fence might be the shadow.
Yes.
That's a shadow cast from the fencing since it's south to north. All right, so you have the fencing out here and down. And you would show it correctly on your plan. Sounds like you wouldn't need screening off of your property because we wouldn't expect you to do that. You have a fence. What kind of fence is it? Chain link or
dog-eared, 6-foot fence.
Stockade, okay. Thank you. Okay, so stockade fence, 6 feet, you said? Chime in, board, if you have any other
Well, I
comments or
think the other
thoughts.
thing is just to define parking spaces, whether it's for
Yes,
vehicles you're siding for parts to arrive, whether it's incoming vehicles, but it should be a very well-defined parking plan.
And I just do want to add that that is my home also, so I know it's a business, but it is my home, so there is some stuff that's personal, that's my personal stuff, not the business stuff.
what's this fencing here for? Just out of curiosity, why is it going all the way around? Is that just security for your impoundment?
No, I just put it up just to kind of break. I mean, the trees are tall, but the screening starts at over 10 feet. So once I knew that those trees weren't mine, when I was going to add trees, I was actually going to add trees all the way around to screen the vehicles being in the back. So since the trees weren't mine anymore, so I decided to put a fence all the way around to break the top of the trees where they're dead, basically, to the ground, so you can't see back there at all.
I don't know, Tricia, did I give you an
It's kind
opportunity?
of the worst picture that could ever be put up.
I mean, I would love to see, more current pictures. I did just go on Google just to see.
I have some on my cell phone if you want to see
Well,
them.
I went on Google from May of 2024, and I'm just noticing, I have a question of clarification. Is your parking always right up to the street like that? Because on here in May 2024, it's similar. So do you,
No,
because
so I put with striping, I put 18 feet of curve on both sides to kind of look more like an entrance.
So the striping makes the curve, like
Correct.
the red lines there, for instance? Is that what you're saying?
No, just right in the beginning, I
Oh, right up in here.
18 foot from the road in, I put two striping sections so people wouldn't park out that far anymore.
right, because like this was in May of 2024, which is not years ago. That's, well, I guess it's still a
Yeah,
couple
there,
years
I
ago.
apologize, there is times when a customer comes and just parks their car wherever, and we
Right.
do try to move cars that are close to the road away
Right.
from there.
Right, because if that's supposed to be used as a turning radius and there's cars there, you're not really
Right,
having a
yeah, we
turning
don't, we
radius.
try not to keep cars out there.
Right.
So, as Al was saying, you'll have to show your intended spaces for parking.
Okay.
And then also the ADA parking.
Now, we did put ADA parking on the front of the building, and the code enforcement officer that was around at that time, he was okay with me moving it over there. I don't have a problem once I will be paving between the house and the barn, so I can move the signage back to the middle, but I do have ADA signage in front of the,
Depict it on your plan, show this, you probably should stripe it so that's obvious to those, where the handicap parking is. Are you still gonna use parking similar to the blue stripe here, but somewhere else within the fenced area, or is it,
just
there's a
inside
different
the fence
configuration?
area. I use it just to park overflow at night. Every night I move everything that's anywhere in the front, I move it behind the fence. There might be a car that's waiting for parts, that might be 2-3 days, so I put it behind the fence so I can still use the shop.
Okay. Again, just make sure that, like, I don't even know what this is
It's
back then, but,
we had a couple storage containers for the winter, only for the winter, for when we're remodeling the house. We had
okay, so that's gone, right?
gone. There's, again, that's one of the worst pictures you could probably ever post up there.
Google Earth's good at that. So, all right. So you'll depict what might need to be done, what's left to be done, if anything, on this infiltration pond? I keep calling it
The
retention,
only
but
thing that's left is just to put the
just to,
the piping and the
Catch basin and
catch basin
piping.
on the other side.
yep, okay. That this will be
Sure thing.
landscaped, basically green grass?
It's all green right now.
Yeah, okay, let's
all that.
just show it, that it's not intended to be parking or storage or overflow. We do require 35% green space for commercially developed properties, and that is not,
Once they came and said, don't park on the lawn,
yeah.
I've never parked anything on
Okay.
the lawn again.
We need a site plan that we can say, yes, this is an approved site plan with things that the board can accept.
Okay.
So that's why we're here. Anything else? Trish, do you have any other thoughts or comments, questions?
I guess my only other thing is the paint booth that's
Yeah, well,
at a standstill. But the town does have all the manuals.
mhm.
It is a certified paint booth.
So was that a formal request to,
Frank was waiting for this to, I guess, see how the exhaust looked, if it was appealing enough, or if I had to screen it with something.
oh, I have,
Basically a 2.5-foot round pipe coming out, right at the building, going up 10 feet.
bring some photos when you come, send some photos to Lisa.
They have the architect photos with, and I don't, unless I put it up, I wouldn't be able to show you exact pictures. But they did have an architect picture of what the pipe would look like coming out.
Are you talking about pictures that you sent in for building permit?
I gave
There's two separate things. So planning board and building permit are two separate.
I gave that information to Frank. He wanted what that would have looked like, so he had both drawings from the architect of the paint booth and from the water.
So he most likely has those in paper form because building permits don't always do electronically. So if you can resend them to me or have Kyle send them to my email, because the board does a lot, as you can see, with computers, so I would need them electronically. And I can add it to their packets in their Dropbox.
So that's kind of like, it's keeping me from doing a lot of work, or enough work to pay the bills. Because that's been at a standstill for a year now.
Well, the drawing that you have sent in, that's dated January 28th, pretty far with that. You can modify that or update it, and as we've been speaking, to illustrate where you need to.
Frank wanted a picture or an architect picture of that and the sprinkler system. And after I gave him that for the permit, then he said, well, your exhaust is going outside. So that, put it on the,
Mhm. Yeah, okay. I do need to open it up to the public because this is a public hearing, so I want to hear if there's anyone that has any comments or questions for the applicant or the board. Seeing and hearing none, I assume nothing online, Susie? Okay. Yeah, we'll leave it open because we'll be looking at the next meeting probably. So that'll be a carryover, unless there's anything else. Wes, do you have anything else, comments that you needed to make?
No, not right now.
Okay. Any other thoughts?
I
Scott?
just had a couple of comments.
Yeah.
One comment is, I think we'd like to see where the leach field is. And looking at that photograph,
there's no leach fields.
there's no leach field, you're on sanitary? Okay. And then relative to your pond that's there, I remember when that came in for that. And looking at your space needs, I'm wondering if your engineer has explored stormwater infiltration and maybe creating stormwater chambers there on which you could produce some type of parking, something like that. In other words, your prior engineer designed a pond for there. You said that the soil's very porous and water disappears. So in those particular cases, what I've seen, when there's a lack of room, which certainly appears to be the case here, stormwater infiltration using stormwater chambers, perhaps your engineer's familiar with it. You might want to take a look at that to give you some more room. I mean, even if that is the worst picture ever, it shows a lot of congestion, and you know, if that were my property, I'd want to use as much as I could.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. All right, unless you guys have anything else you need to bring to our attention, I think we've got your marching orders, I guess, and we'll see you at the next meeting, it sounds like, so. Okay,
Thank you for your time.
okay, thank you.
Appreciate the time and information. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, last application for the evening, Brownsville Road Sketch Subdivision, Nova Rise Subdivision, owner Morel Builders, applicants requesting acknowledgement of a complete application for a proposed 73 lot cluster subdivision on a total of 158.2 acres. This portion of this application is not a public hearing. We recognize that we received a petition from, I believe, the neighborhood of Ozano Circle. Board has it and is aware of it, and we will certainly take that into consideration, and we'll have an opportunity to open up this application to the public when we go to preliminary plans. Good evening.
Hi, good evening. I'm Carly Moynihan. I'm with Morel Builders. I'm also here with Bill Areno. We've got Rich Teedy as well, and Cole Papasergi with Marathon Engineering. So today we're going to kind of present to you our plan for the new Nova Rise community off of Brownsville Road, which we're very excited and proud of, and I'm excited to share with you today.
Floor is yours.
Let's see, there we go. So we've spent a lot of time really thoughtfully curating this community, putting together what we think will be the best plan for what's existing there right now, and also what will serve the housing needs. And so our goal is really pretty clear and simple, to create a neighborhood that's really fitting to the natural land that's there already, one that respects the landscape and protects the green space. We want to, when you look at the plan, we'll show soon, the vision really comes to life, and we're intending it to be nature forward, one that feels timeless and well thought out. So, next I've got an inspiration board here for you, just to kind of paint the picture on what the long-term vision will be for the neighborhood. So we've used some really natural colors, a natural color palette that we expect to use within the home designs themselves. Really nature forward here. We want to really get you to think everyday moments here, community collaboration, neighbors connecting, friends walking dogs before work, after work, trail systems we hope for in the future potentially, and to really just make it feel connected. Natural and timeless look as well, and it's really a home style the longer I look at it, a home style I would personally love to live in the future. And speaking for myself, the product type is really what my demographic really needs, especially now, with facing one of the toughest housing markets that there has been in a very long time. I know it's all over, so you've seen the high interest rates, really limited inventory, so it makes it really hard to obtain a home that you might want. And truly, it's been difficult to, thinking into the future, obtain a step-up home that families can grow into when it comes to someone like myself. So we really want to offer something that meets, that scope, and thinking about that buyer too. Something that's comfortable and something that is manageable as well. We kind of wanted to share some images and photos from the community engagement within communities we've built in Pittsford and Victor that exist today. And Morel Builders, I know you might be familiar with some of the projects we've done, but really from day one, we want to create community in every project that we do. And so we want neighbors to get to know each other, and we offer community events as it develops to get people together for holidays. We've done ice cream socials, and really 1 or 2 events, and it takes on a life of its own.
The neighborhood gains, Bill Areno with Morel Builders, the neighborhood gains culture and people gel. And we really think about that before we come to you and present anything that is, you know, that's why we're kind of doing the talking a little bit before the engineers, so you understand what we're trying to develop and put together. So, sorry to interrupt you.
That's all right. Yeah, so just continuing to create that community atmosphere in everything that we do. And so that goes along with our approach, and we'll dive into the community plans themselves to come. But really, first in mind, too, was thoughtful integration when we first acquired the land, too, really keeping in mind what's there already. We want to think, you know, with the streetscapes and the homes that will be here, we've designed them to really complement the existing land and work off of them. And you'll see that in the site plan to come. But then timeless design as well. So within our architecture and the homes, we've intended to kind of blend classic craftsmanship and modern style that really fits the demographic that would be living there. Community connection, as I touched on as well, it's a very important part. And then sustainable growth, really aiming to connect the community and enhance the area. We want to enhance it with well thought out plans and responsible building. And then lastly, collaboration with the local spirit. So everything that Victor stands for, every detail from the materials that we'll be using and the layout itself, we've kept you guys in mind and the community as we built it. And so I'll hand it over to you, Bill, to share the site plan.
So some of you might know this property. I've got communication with the seller. We now own the property, but with Mrs. Kiko going back till probably 2012. It's just as you look at land, it's just an ideal piece of property, parcel that is very inviting. What we really, I think we've put in a beautiful community together here, and what we started out with is trying to take advantage of the existing landscape. Obviously, this space here, you can see this is all farmland. We're trying to design the neighborhood so that we are not impeding on any of the natural growth that's been there. We're concentrating the home sites themselves into that space and reserving any of the large tree growth and keeping all this. You can see the space that we've reserved for green space. Our goal is to really take down very, very little trees when we design this neighborhood. The home sites are entirely on the farmer's field. No key environmental features will be impacted or disturbed when we design this community.
Could you make sure you move a little closer to the mic, please?
Yeah, sorry about that. Usually my wife tells me my mouth is big enough, so I never have a problem with that. So there's over 90 acres that we are going to either have as green space, conservation easement, or open space. And we've actually, even this space down here is part of the property that we purchased, and that's going to continue to be farmed. So we're going to leave some agriculture as well. As a result, we've created an opportunity for almost every site. The back of the sites will back up to open space or trees. The property to the west, we're actually going to keep that we're going to make that a conservation easement. It'll back up to Ravenwood. They will actually take ownership of that, but it will have the conservation easement. They're trying to protect their property. It also gives opportunity for our customers back up to a conservation easement that will all be open and treed behind. Nova Rise will actually come off of Brownsville. I'm not real steady with this thing here, will come off of Brownsville right here, what we've designed to do. And that will be the main entrance for the neighborhood. And then it will develop as we move back through. Our new designs feature a deeper layout for better home spacing. We're going to show you in a couple slides, but we've done this down in Honey Eye Falls in our neighborhood called Wolfsburger Park, and it's absolutely beautiful, and that's what we want to bring here. It's been very successful for us. We've got homeowners from all over the counties here that have moved into Honey Eye Falls, and we're trying to kind of mimic or mirror that look. We can go on to the next slide, right?
Yeah.
And I could do that too. This would be the entrance. We really like to do a nice entrance sign. We just finished our Highline sign, came out very nice, and this is similar to that for Nova Rise. That would be coming off of Brownsville. Gives just a beautiful entrance, pride for the homeowners that they're driving home. Nice streetscape, sidewalks. We've put in about the street trees, but we know we've got to talk to you about that. But that is a concept coming off of Brownsville there and leading into the neighborhood with some very nice spacing. There won't be any homes, as you can see on the map, for quite a ways until we get up into the higher area of the property.
Yep, and what I love too is like truly from Brownsville Road, you won't be able to see any of these homes. It's tucked away behind the green.
That's a good point. I forgot to mention that.
So here's a photo of image from our community that's in Honeyway Falls right now. It'll be similar home plans that we bring into Nova Rise, and so we wanted to show, you know, the community as it is maturing. It's surrounded by the natural trees and greenery that we've been able to preserve. And it's been flourishing. It's been great. And it's been a very popular home style as well. And then to give you kind of an idea of what we envision the community to look like from a streetscape kind of perspective, you can see the spacing between the homes is pretty nice. And then you've got the style of home that we'll build is deeper into the lot, as Bill mentioned, too, as opposed to wider. So gives you some more space on the side. And then potentially some walking trails and kind of to give connectivity and make it nice for the community to be able to stroll, walk your dogs. I know I'd love to. And then we've also got some images here of home plans that we've built. This is very similar to what we've got at Wolfsburger Park in Honeyway Falls. And then this image is one of our newer plans that we've kind of curated for this community itself. Off the bat, we really love the idea of these nice large open patios that are welcoming. And it's an ideal home size for someone like me and my demographic. And so, the style itself, just modern look and feel, and the depth of it goes further into the lot as opposed to wider on the home site.
So this is actually our model home down at Wolfsburger Park in Honeyway Falls. And with the redesign, it's not just a different look from the exterior. It's a modern plan. We're more open space. We've eliminated the formal spaces. Most of the customers we're working with now, the demographic is not wanting a formal living room or a formal dining room. It's an option for them not to purchase the existing home and have a brand new home as an option with the square footage where they want it. Eliminating hallway space in the second floor and having a very open plan. It's very bright, a lot of windows, 9-foot first floor ceilings, a beautiful kitchen. They say kitchen and bath sell homes. I think the kitchens are our centerpiece in Rochester. This is a it can be built at 2,000 square feet, 21 upwards to 2,600 square feet. This way. This is also another thing with the present designs. People are looking for a place to work from home. And so we can do a first floor office in the space we're talking about. And also, obviously, those are 4-bedroom plans. So one of the bedrooms upstairs could be used as an office as well. And then this family room, open floor plan, same Wolfsburger model, 15 by 18 family room, no traffic pattern through it, beautiful glass, 9-foot ceilings, and this is, again, in a 2,100 square foot colonial. Beautiful owner suite. You can see in this one here, glass to the back. This one does open to some open space in the back as well. Miss anything? That's our presentation. I want to thank you for the opportunity to present to you. And certainly we're here for questions.
Okay. Initially, I think we're also interested in looking at the actual layout of the homes and sites, and I think we have it up there. Yep. So, Trish, questions?
Any questions?
Pat?
No, sorry.
No, I guess I don't have any questions. I mean, we received this petition, I guess, from the neighbors regarding the connection to their subdivision, so it seems. Would you like to speak about that at all?
Certainly. There is an existing stub that comes off of Azano Circle, and we are proposing to connect to that and the sewer connection there.
Do you have any information on traffic and how that might affect the neighbors, as they seem to be objecting to that?
We just got the email, this just came in later, so I'm not sure if you got,
Oh, okay.
Carly had said, so it came in late, so I'm not sure if they had a chance.
We did receive it, yes, we did. I would say, I mean, from a traffic standpoint, that'll be dealt with at planning. Anything to add to that, Cole?
Up to the mic. Name, identify yourself, and then
Cole Papasergi with Marathon Engineering, site civil engineer. Yeah, so overall, this would be 72 lots on the north side of Brownsville Road. There's one existing lot on on Brownsville Road itself. So we're looking at 72 trips, which wouldn't meet any of the thresholds for any of the common thresholds of 100 trips per day, so, or at the peak hour. But we'd be at preliminary level providing, a trip generation letter to
Sure.
with our rest of our.
okay. Thanks. Got anything else?
No.
No.
No questions, but more of a comment, but I could reserve that for later if you want, or?
No, go ahead.
I definitely appreciate trying to maintain the maximum green space. But it does appear to be quite narrow lots, 50 feet with a 2,000 square foot home on it. Just feels like that's going to be extremely dense in the area that you're proposing to develop.
Okay. I don't think there's a lot that would be 50.
Okay, well,
The minimum lot I believe we have is 65, correct? At setback, yes.
Okay.
Yep. And what we showed you is what we're doing in Honey I follows the same type of product as well. So.
Okay. And then given that, we have received some commentary relative to the connection over there in Anzio Circle, that we might just at least want to consider proposing an alternate layout that doesn't require that connection, just for future consideration.
Okay. I have a minor concern about the lot sizes. I understand that setback, you're talking at least 65 feet.
Yes.
I would change the layout of a couple of these. 124, 25, and 26 are all on a curve. And the backyards are very narrow. You're very limiting on what you'd be able to do in the backyards.
Sure.
I would take those three and make 2 lots out of them, because they're just, one's pie. And there's a couple other ones that are similarly spaced on the inside of curves that I'm not in favor of. I would much rather see you get a realistic backyard, because that person in 125 is going to have a little, not even a footprint of a house space
Sure.
as a yard. So that's my concern about the overall layout of it.
Okay.
Regarding the tie-in, I know that Lozano Circle is not happy with it, but we specifically had that designed with the stub in anticipation of this site development.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not in favor of restricting or eliminating that at all. First of all, it's emergency access for that development. You would have to either tie all the way back down to Brownsville on two ends to, utilize the space properly with all these homes, or some other thing. I don't think you actually even have, well, you could, I suppose, but that is unrealistic to dead end it at that space. And you're going to have maybe half the people going one way and half going the other, because nobody in the southern end is going to go all the way north to then go south again to get to Victor, the village. And when we went through Lozano Circle review, it was supposed to have a tie through to, what's the name of the?
Our former subdivision.
The subdivision up further to, on that side. There was loud protests about that. There's an emergency access there, but it's unusable for those people to get out to go east, I guess. So you'll have plenty of opportunity in the public hearing side of this. I'm making a kind of initial statement, and I've been on the board for over 25 years, and I've seen all of these, and I have a strong objection to eliminating linkages because of the emergency access. I mean, ambulance, fire department, all of that. I've seen a proposal or a suggestion to throttle it to one lane through there for access, but people are going to go through there if they're given one lane just as easily as they'll go through there if there's two lanes. The sidewalks will be connected any way you look at it, for circulation, for a sense of community. People will walk all the way through there, and I think that's a good thing. Regarding construction vehicles, I'm reading from the petition, we can certainly entertain restricting access of construction vehicles to strictly from Brownsville Road, not through Lozano Circle.
Absolutely.
So I would definitely advise that. Tuscany Hills, you're talking about change in neighborhood character. The character is what it is. It's meant to be tied to more community. And I'd suggest that everyone that bought lots in Tuscany Hills was aware that this stub was there for a future tie-in to other development. Let's see else. I addressed number for the precedents. Comprehensive plan. It is walkability. That's why I said about the sidewalks. And I'm sure Victor Hiking Trails may have some input on this. As far as public safety concerns, to me, public safety is all about emergency access and not occasional traffic from each house. So I guess I'm laying out my perspective on this at the very beginning here, and I'm certainly open to hearing comments from the public throughout this review. But I just want to set it right up front that that linkage was primarily addressed during the Tuscany Hills application as a requirement. And they actually paved a portion of it to make it obvious that it was a tie-in. So for those that are objecting to it, I understand the interest in objecting to it and the concern, but It was there as a future development. And there are other developments in Victor that are much bigger than this that tie in multiple areas with similar traffic issues. And I don't see this as an issue at all, really, for traffic. So, enough said from me. But I think that's my philosophy and position on that particular tie-in. So again, I'm more than happy to hear comments from the public, and I'm sure I'll hear about it. But that's what the intent of the board was back then, and I don't see it changing. So, from my perspective, anything else from the board or Wes? Comments? I mean, well, like I said, all we're doing is reviewing this for complete application. So,
Yeah, I've got some comments. Labella Associates, we just issued a letter today on the sketch plan. Kind of surprised I'm not hearing more from the planning board, but that's fine. So when the preliminary subdivision gets filed, let's see, we'll need an ag data statement, a seeker EAF, all that good stuff. I think what I might want to call some attention to, well, since you were just commenting on the connectivity to Azano Circle right here, this follows, this type of layout and the connection is consistent with the town's access management plan, right, that was adopted in 2019 as an appendix to the comprehensive plan, right? So the connectivity is what the town was encouraging with access management. And and we can elaborate on that a little bit further in future meetings. So in terms of conservation easements, you have the opportunity here now to talk about or to look at the existing conservation easements in the neighboring community. Right over here, I think there's a 50-foot wide conservation easement at the back of these lots.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and then there's a larger conservation easement right up here that was established as part of the Tuscany Hills project. You might want to consider whether or not that would be, whether or not you're prohibiting or maybe you want to enhance that conservation easement between the two neighborhoods. I think maybe there's a 10-foot wide conservation easement here proposed. You might want to have that be wider, right? So there's a couple of lots here. I think it's lots...
I think, Wes, we're at 25 feet right there.
25 feet?
Yes.
There it is.
Proposed.
I do see it on the plan. You're
Yep.
right. It's 25 feet. If you want to make that wider, there are some, forgive me for calling these odd-shaped lots. I don't know whether they're odd or they're just a little uncharacteristic.
You're
based
forgiven,
on
Wes.
the other lot layouts, right? Whether you want to have a wider conservation easement between the proposed homes and the existing homes, right? That's up to you. But I think the applicant has done a good job at showing a lot of open space as part of this project and some conservation easement areas to the north of here on other parcels. It would be interesting to see, I think we would like for you to submit to the New York State DEC a wetland delineation for a parcel JD and maybe a project JD at some point, just because that could impact the design and the layout of the homes. And I see that there is a bit of a wetland within the open space on the west side of the home site. So I think that would be helpful.
I think, Wes,
We're ahead of that.
Rich Teedy from Morel Builders. We've already had a delineation and a parcel JD with DEC and Corps of Engineers. So
Okay.
we're still waiting for the letter from the Corps of Engineers, but we do have a letter.
What does
from
DEC say about their JD? Are they taking jurisdiction over the wetlands?
The one in back, yes.
Okay, all right.
That is the only one. There is a smaller one on the east side of the road, but we aren't developing over there, so.
Okay. Yeah, so this is being submitted, as you know, as a cluster subdivision. You, as the planning board, have the opportunity to decide whether or not you want this to be a cluster subdivision, if you like that idea, as including the size of the lots, right? If you're happy with the size of the lots, that's up to you as a board. If you would rather see them larger, you could require that, but that may impact the number of home sites that would ultimately be built. Let's see.
Or using other portions of the parcel.
Yes.
Right? I mean, there's some
Correct.
significant portions that are unused in the current.
That's right.
So could I speak to that for a moment? I just, we completed Piper Meadows, and that was a combination of single-family homes and townhomes. I think it was 20 townhomes and 19 single-family. And we talked about townhomes. It's just there's such a demand right now for housing. And when you open up a single-family home, these are designed to be entry-level new construction homes, meaning someone already lives in an existing home, they're pulling the equity out of that property, that opens up another house. The person that buys that house could come from a townhome or a rental. What we're trying to do is assist in where the market is right now, and we could put townhomes and probably get the same density, or propose that, not saying we could, but
I'm not even proposing townhomes. I mean, there's wide swaths of land that are completely untouched in
there
this
is.
proposal.
There is.
I don't know if that's because you want to concentrate your infrastructure to minimize your building costs or your capital costs, which I understand, but, that again gets back to maybe we need to spread this out a little bit more.
It's also part of the concept of the cluster subdivision and bringing things closer together and protecting a lot of the.
Cluster doesn't mean
environment.
pinheads necessarily, right? I mean,
But it also is there to help protect sensitive areas such as steeper slopes, some natural wooded areas, the wetlands that we focused a lot of attention on
which
providing a
again
lot
just
of
may
that.
mean then limiting the number of potential lots then, further than what's proposed here. I mean, that's another alternative.
it's a possibility, certainly. Where we're coming from is trying to help solve the problem of offering a home at a certain price point.
And just out of curiosity, what would the typical price point proposed be for?
Unfortunately, Al, I do existing real estate too, and I had a ranch in Gates sell last week for $290,000, 1,100 square feet, 1-car garage, 3 bedrooms, 1 bath. So I don't know where the real estate market is. Our goal is to bring these in at a $500,000 price point. And unfortunately, I don't think I can bring them in any less than that. The cost to develop the lot is the most expensive thing. It's eroding the value, and we haven't changed our profit margin. It's just cost has driven that up. So we looked at, the townhome opportunity like we did at Piper, but there's such a need and a demand. I would imagine a lot of you have felt that with friends, relatives, even your kids, just trying to get into something that is reasonable. And I'm not saying it's a reasonable price, but it does open up down the line. And that opens up the homes, and that's really where I'm finding the strongest need. If you look at some of the existing homes in Victor right now, they might list for $375, and they're selling for $550. They're 25, 35 years old with old roofs, bathrooms. So it is trying to bring something to market that I think you'd be very proud of and absolutely beautiful. If you get a chance to drive through Wolfsburger, it's a gorgeous product. My daughter actually built in there, and she's my sales manager there. Very proud of the product.
Well, certainly the renderings look very appealing, so I have no issue with the concept, but again, that really just becomes, in my mind, the lot sizes and the density as
I understand. And I would probably, in your position, without seeing, something come together that's beautiful, I would probably feel the same way as you. I understand. Absolutely.
I have a question as well. Is there a way you can give us a rendering? Are you putting thought into, I mean, I know that having the cut through is certainly not, people have concern on that, but have you put thought into the tree line that you would have between the properties so that, I think that would, help in delineating. I feel like there's their feeling of an encroachment of space. Have you any, is that something you guys are looking
We're
into?
not taking any, there's no trees over in that location.
Have you thought of placing trees in? I think having.
In the conservation
If
easement?
I'm just thinking of the perspective of the neighbors
Sure.
that are there, part of probably some of their concern is they're used to, their view of feeling nature, and then all of a sudden there's just a
Sure.
house right behind them.
No, that's a.
So I'm
a
thinking
valid idea.
perhaps that could be something that would help in that transition.
Absolutely.
So Trish, kind of building on that, right, you forego maybe those lots along the southern
Perhaps, you know, and then, and I
property line.
think that
Kinda
would,
to- Joe, I think that's what you were poking at, right? And you,
It can increase the conservation
the
easement,
sizes and the
Correct.
space.
and then potentially we could put trees on that space. I understand and I have sensitivity
Right.
to the lots over there, certainly. Yep.
We can certainly work through that in conversation while we're doing our reviews.
okay.
Yep.
So,
Just to, as Wes had mentioned in one of his early on comments about the conservation easement, it is our intention to provide a conservation easement along the whole west and east side, so both sides of our new road. On the east side, it is part of the open space land, but on the west side, it's part, the conservation easement is on the lots, but it would be contiguous, so not to segregate them.
how was that? You have anything else?
well, maybe it's just more of a question, right? So in one of the renderings we have, you know, depiction of property 1, property 2, property 3. Is that all this one development, or are those separate potential future developments?
Can I go back on this?
If you go to the other rendering, I think it shows.
You talking about like the ones across the road and all
Yeah,
that?
yeah, and even further north, right? There's like
I guess we'd have to see if they're showed as conservation easements.
well, they are.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
At least one is, I guess.
Yeah.
That's why I'm just trying to get understand how the depiction of property 1, 2, and 3 fit this development.
That's a good
or
pic.
not.
Up there.
Right.
Yeah. You got your laser?
So is essentially everything that's dark green part of this proposed development, or is that future development opportunities as well?
So there's 3 parcels. This is the, what's called on the plan is property 1.
Right.
It excludes this existing lot here. Then lot 2 down here, which is adjacent, and lot 3, this excluding the middle there. So the Morels own parcel 1 and will be co-applicants with the applicant owning these 2
So does
parcels.
158 plus or minus acres include all of the property 1, 2, and
So
3?
150 acres in totality. So we're taking the density rights from the other lot and putting conservation easements to the town's code on those lots, which gets us at 79 units. And then we're only building 72 new with the one existing down on.
Do you know what the density overlay is offhand? Is it 2 acres per house or 3 acres?
So this is in overlay B, which is half,
Yeah, 2 acres.
5 units
Yeah.
per acre.
Okay. So take the acres, divide it in half, and that's how many theoretically you could put out. Okay. Thanks.
Something that is sometimes required by the planning board as part of a cluster subdivision is for you to also provide a sketch that shows what the conventional subdivision would look like, right? So that they have that as comparison to show what are those environmental features that you're preserving? What are the steep slopes? What are, to show, I guess, the congregation of the environmental features that
As
you're
a
preserving.
preferred solution.
Yeah. So I might suggest that the planning board ask for that, whether you want to do that as part of sketch plan or
Well, not
preliminary.
sketch plan, I would say preliminary, honestly.
right? I think that would be helpful.
So, just to reiterate what Al was talking about, this whole area is your application, even though it's 3 different lots. And these houses that you're proposing are allowed by the density of this entire space, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Just making sure that the public knows as well. I do see in the middle, I don't know if that's part of Ravenwood or their property. Okay, there is a access point, I think, that you've shown on one of the drawings or more. Do you anticipate there being a future development in this area as well? I mean, that goes to the reason that Tuscany had theirs is because this was very clearly a potentially developable lot in what you're doing.
So we are providing potential access there
Mhm.
because we know it meets with the town's desire for connectability, but it is not part of this application. It's not owned by the Morels, so
Mhm.
there cannot.
But it's an access point to property that could be developed in the future, not that's restricted from development because you're doing the rest of this. That's what I was trying to say is, this is,
Maybe another stub road, so it's
Right.
clear to
yeah.
all parties.
That's correct.
That's correct. That particular parcel has had a cluster application done on it before to create 3 lots down by the roadway.
Uh-huh.
Created all the conservation easements on it, and had left future density of 17 lots in kind of that open field area where we show the stub road going to.
Yeah.
So it's not part of our application. It's not something that we have any ownership or access to, but we anticipate those 17
Which was the
lots
same
will probably
discussion
be
with the
built.
Anzio Circle, right?
Correct, yeah. And just to put a further emphasis on it, if that access, I think, is right there,
Yes. Yes.
these people, if they eventually develop this, it's not going to create a route that goes through this whole subdivision and out as on a circle. People are going to come out, or emergency vehicles more likely, and just do this. So I don't look at that as a future traffic risk. I look at it as a benefit for emergency access, but that's it. So, but I did want to try to find out what kind of density we're talking about that could go in here. 17 homes is not large, in my opinion. So I think that's a reasonable ask that someone may have to tie in without having a single access point from Brownsville to 17 homes. And it's essentially, or is specifically for emergency access. So, getting it on the record. All right. Anything else from anyone on the board? Okay, we'll get plenty of chance to review things going forward. Is there anything that we did not address that you?
I just wanted to let the public know, I mean, I'll stand out there and answer questions if they'd like right now so that they don't have to wait.
Okay.
I'm happy to hand out my card too if they want to meet with us at the model.
Mhm.
So,
And again, for the public's sake, we certainly will be probably multiple meetings, opportunities for people to come up and comment directly, or you certainly can write into the planning department comments as you did with the petition with further comments or questions. So unless there's objection, I'll read the resolution for complete sketch plan. This by in no way means we're approving this project as it's shown. It's basically, they've completed an application for its site development. We've had this occasionally before where they just don't build it or don't, because of some other reasons, but not saying these folks won't, but it by no means is an approval of everything as shown. Things will change, most likely. So you need to know that. So with that, this is a resolution for sketch plan approval. Resolution Brownsville Road subdivision, Nova Rise, sketch approval, application 2SK 2026, 973 Brownsville Road. Number 1, a sketch plan application consisting of but not limited to a letter of intent, sketch plan application form, sketch plan drawing set, and aerial photograph were received on February 3rd, 2026. Bill Areno, correct? Yes. Agent for Morel Team in motion, the applicant by the Secretary of the Planning Board for a major subdivision entitled Brownsville Road, subdivision Nova Rise, the project, for the property located at 973 Brownsville Road, Victor, New York. Number 2 is the intent of the project proposed 73-lot clustered subdivision on a total of 158.2 acres over 3 parcels. Number 3, an under review sign was posted on the subject parcel as required by town code. Number 4, Highway Superintendent reviewed the sketch plan on February 13th, 2026 and provided comments. Number 5, Codes Department reviewed the sketch plan on February 24th, 2026 and provided comments. Number 6, Labella Associates reviewed the sketch plan on March 10th, 2026 and provided comments. Now therefore be it resolved that regarding the sketch plan application of Bill Reno, agent for Morel Team in motion, major subdivision entitled Brownsville Road Subdivision, known as Nova Rise, drawn by Marathon Engineering, dated February 3rd, 2026, received by the Planning Board February 3rd, 2026, Planning Board Application 2 SK 2026. The Planning Board acknowledges receipt of a complete sketch plat application, and be it further resolved that the Planning Board Secretary forward a copy of this resolution to the applicant. So with that resolution, entertain a motion to approve.
I'll move.
Al moves,
I'll second.
and Trish seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, carried 4-0. Moving ahead.
Thank you, Board.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Just a reminder, I think that's the last item on the board, that we all have training by the end of the month to complete. I amongst them.
Off.
Yeah, right. To those procrastinators like myself.
I have time to sit down and do it.
Yeah. But just a friendly reminder, and that other training that you need for the year too. So, anybody got anything else?
A bunch of courses you're supposed to take online.
That's going back a few years.
Got that?
Maybe.
Motion,
I remember you working.
You said that to me?
motion to adjourn.
I don't remember.
I'll move.
Al moves to adjourn.
From the main
You can
office,
second,
right?
can't you,
I'll
Joe?
second it, yeah.
I forgot.
All right. Have a good evening, everyone.
You might not have been on the board yet.
Yeah. Yeah, and I gotta remind,